G'day, my name's Peter Foxwell. I'm a farmer at Alton Downs, just near Rockhampton. We've been growing sesame for 7 or 8 years in partnership with CQU and Agriventus and AgriFutures and CSNA. So today we're looking at some setup and some adjustments to some planters, looking at John Deere and Monosem vacuum planters to hopefully get going and get a good crop. What we've got is seed plates for a Monosem planter. They're 3 different sizes. As you can see, they're very, very thin, very flat. So this one has a large hole for a large seed. So we have a look at these smaller hole plates. This is what we use for sesame. And on the back, the first 2 numbers, 60, means there's 60 seed holes in the plate, and the 10 means it's 1 millimetre diameter hole. So a sesame, you could probably use an 08 or a 10 for sesame. In this case we use a 10, but if you're doing broadacre work, your row spacing will be wider. You'll probably use a 120 10 or a 120 08 just to get your population right. So you'll have to gear it according to your row spacing and the seed spacing. Ideally we're looking at between 2 to 4 kilos a hectare, so depending on the seed size and the seed count per kilo, you'll have to work out with your gear settings and gear ratios as to what population you're going to be chasing. Or any vacuum planter for that matter works on sucking a seed to a plate. The plate spins around and distributes the seed evenly. In this case it sits over the spindle there. You can see the holes. Each one should be for 1 seed, and the Monosem is very good at singulating, but as the plate moves around, it picks up a seed out of the hopper here. It's held onto the plate, spins around into a zone of no suction, and then the seed drops off the plate straight down the tube into the ground. The beauty of this Monosem planter, they have a singulator, they call it. It's a brass attachment that goes on the plate, and actually as the disc is turning around, it can knock off excess seeds off the plate, so you end up with 1 seed per cell. So this is the cover of the seed plate. It's important with sesame because it's such a small seed. You want to have this guide covering as much of the hole as you can, so that it doesn't feed too much seed into the seed ball here. Just moving it down to knock off more seed, or take the pressure off to knock off fewer seeds, and that's there's not a lot of adjustment, but that's enough to singulate really well. The adjuster for the singulator, you can see it's set about 4 stops below 0. That run we did was at about 20 on the vacuum gauge. Don't be afraid to have higher pressure for the singulator to work really well. The Monosem seed depth adjustment is very easy. You can just wind this in or out, and that'll change the depth. You can see a gauge here, so you can match all your rows to the same set, and all that does is adjust the height that this gauge wheel goes up and down. Now sesame, like any crop, you want to have good seed soil contact. Don't be afraid to put it in a little bit deep. You could possibly go to 20 to 35 millimetres deep, but really you want it as shallow as you can to make sure that there's enough moisture there to germinate. And it can take up to 6 days to germinate, 6 or 7 days, so you need it to stay moist for that time. So that's why a bit of depth won't hurt. At the back we've got these press wheels. Now, being a very small seed, you want to minimise really the down pressure on your closing wheels or your press wheels. We're looking at a John Deere planter box now. Any vacuum planter will surely plant sesame, and probably for that matter most planters, air seeders, seed drills will plant sesame as well. But in this case, the operation of your John Deere vacuum planter is exactly the same as a Monosem, with some differences in the plate design and the way the seed is held onto it. The best plate I think to use is a sorghum plate, and if you use a sorghum plate you will need a a wheel that will punch out the seeds out of each cell. So I'll show you how to set that up. When you're setting up a John Deere plate on a row unit, you need to have the gap between the plate and the housing minimised, because seed can fall out of there. The way to do that, in the centre here, you pull this clip out, adjust the tension on the spring, and that will pull the plate closer or further away from the housing. So that sits in there. This cover sits over the top. Your vacuum hose goes on there, and it works the same as the Monosem. So we've got to have that wheel timed to the plate, so each pin punches the holes out, so there's nothing gets stuck, everything's ejected. Ground speed wise, you can travel probably 8 kilometres an hour, no trouble at all. Don't be afraid to have a bit of ground speed, use a bit of air pressure, and you can adjust that singulator to get a good seed spacing. So it works really, really well. One thing you need to be aware of with the seed cell size, or the hole diameter, you need really clean seed for the seed to separate easily. They can get blocked occasionally. So that's important to keep an eye on that. Watch your monitor, see what the population is doing, and keep an eye on things. I hope these tips have been helpful. If you want to get involved in growing or want to know more about the sesame industry, have a look at aceda.com.au.
For more information or to subscribe for industry updates, visit www.agrifutures.com.au.